FCS parents, hope you guys have had a great week. It has been a crazy couple of weeks here at Fairfield Christian School, but God is good, and He always makes a way. We've had a couple staff out last week. We had a couple staff out this week as well. But one of the great things about Fairfield Christian School is the staff here at Fairfield Christian School. The people that are here are amazing. I am blessed to be able to work with such a fantastic group of people because they always pick up the slack. Whatever they need to do, they're willing to help out, adjust their schedules, adjust how they do things to help accommodate whatever's going on. When we're missing staff people, obviously the goal is to get a substitute teacher in. As you may know, right now, substitutes are a little hard to come by, whether it's in private schools or public schools. Teachers in general are hard to come by. So our staff being extremely flexible and adaptable and willing to be flexible and adaptable. You don't know how much of a blessing that is. And our staff is amazing. And so even though we've had a couple people out each week, I don't think we've missed a beat. We've kept things rolling along. Things have been going great, all because the staff here love your kids and they want to see your kids educated in the best possible way, developing a biblical worldview, one child at a time. That's our vision, and that's our goal for each of these kids, and that has continued to happen. I know there have been other schools in our area that have been much harder hit than our school. We have had some kids out, as I said, a few staff out, but I know a school in our area that had at one point last week 40% of their kids out and 50% of their staff out. That's pretty hard hit by this COVID variant. We haven't been hit nearly as bad, although it has presented challenges over the last couple weeks. But again, God is good. God has made a way, and we're continuing to move forward. Continue to pray for our staff, our students, our families, that for both health and for healing that takes place throughout this season. This wave is expected to last until mid-February, so probably not done with this wave of the virus yet, but praying that God will keep and protect us. And if people do get sick, that God will heal them and make them whole. So we're looking forward to see what God is going to do for us and through us through this next season, even amid this COVID virus. I do want to thank you as parents for keeping your kids home when they're sick. Not just with COVID, but I know kids have flus and colds right now as well. We've had several kids that were out sick. They've actually tested negative, but they've had fevers, coughing, sneezing, all that kind of stuff. And again, colds and flus are still a part of the stuff that's going on out there. So thank you for keeping your kids home, whether it's with COVID or whether it's with a cold or flu. We don't want anybody getting sick at all. So thank you, parents, for following those guidelines. If you have any questions, I know the guidelines keep on changing. The big one is right now, if a person does test positive for COVID, I know that everybody hears about the 5-day quarantine now, but the key is after the 5 days, they have to have a negative test at the end of the 5 days before they can come back. Otherwise, they have to go the full 10-day quarantine if they have tested positive for COVID. Again, we can do in-person quarantines for people that have had close contact, as long as they're showing no symptoms, and it is recommended that person also get a test. Again, I know testing is difficult right now, hard to come by, but those tests are important to make sure we're not spreading this virus. There's risk in everything we do. There's risk in being here, there's risk in staying home. We've seen those risks. We've seen that students learning at home is not the best for a majority of kids. So there's a risk there. There's a risk in them being here. There's risks all over the place. The goal, however, is to minimize the risk while still gaining as much of the benefit as possible. So a lot of those protocols, that's what they're built around, that risk versus reward. I remember in college taking my risk management course. That's what you're constantly looking at. Do the benefits outweigh the risk that you're taking? And so when we make decisions around here, yes, we're following the state guidelines. We're doing the things that we need to do, but we're also balancing that against risk versus reward. And we want to keep everybody as safe and healthy as possible, and at the same time provide as much in-person instruction as possible for everybody. One thing that we have noticed over these last couple of years as we're working with kids, I know I hear a lot from the kids that they're on the internet a lot, watching videos and doing all of those sorts of things. However, one thing that is crucial in the development of young people, and as with adults as well, is reading. Reading is so incredibly important, parents. And I'm not talking just for younger kids, for older kids as well. I was working with some high school students the other day. We read through a passage, and then I asked them to tell me what we just read, put it in your own words, and it was difficult for them to do that. Students get better at doing that the more they read. And listen, I just doing my own survey in the middle school and high school classes, there are lots of kids that don't like to read. And that's a problem. reading, there is so much that takes place in terms of your brain development when you read. So parents, I encourage you, of all ages, from preschool through high school, turn off the devices, turn off the videos, turn off the internet, put a book in their hands and get them to read. Read with them. Even as adults, read with your kids. Read with them. Encourage them to read. And the more they read, the better off they're going to be. Reading is the number one way we learn throughout our entire lives. And if we're not reading, we're probably not learning to our greatest potential. So parents, again, take the electronics away. Get them to read. I know kids are way too excited to get on video games, watch videos on the internet, because I hear them talking about it all the time. Get a book in their hand, get them reading. It will help their development immensely. All right. We are in the second semester. Things are moving along. We've got a few days off here and there. We've got Easter break coming up way down the road. But this second semester tends to seem a little bit slower, but before you know it, we're going to blink and it's going to be the end of the school year. So I encourage you to keep in contact with us as things change and things go on. We're still not doing all the programs that we normally do, again, because of COVID, especially right now with the spread of this variant. As things hopefully get better as we move into spring, we may try doing a few more things here on campus that we normally do. But again, it really depends on where this COVID variant goes, or the next variant, or whatever else happens after this. I thank you, parents, for swinging with us with all the changes. We don't always know from day to day how things are going to roll, what's going to happen next, what the state is going to decide next. But always know that we always have the best interest of your kids in mind. Our goal is to have these kids in class, in person, teaching them with direct instruction, because that's the best way most kids learn. We're dedicated to doing that, and it's a privilege and honor for us to do that for your kids. All right, as always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please email myself or the office. We'd be more than happy to answer those questions for you. Hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Get lots of rest. God bless.